Hello, Mayor Brants, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, David?
Yes, Mayor. How are you today?
I'm good. Now I can
Good.
see myself, but
Yeah,
there, great.
I knew there'd be some early birds today.
Well, I worry about getting on.
That's warranted after what I had to deal with this morning with the coordinating committee. It's a good rule. We had a lot of technical issues this morning.
It can happen. Sometimes it runs smooth. Other times you just can't get over the humps.
Yes, yes, that's what happened to me this morning, but we were able to get it going about 25 minutes after it was supposed to start.
Well, last night our Boomtown Council was held up for 45 minutes because of technical glitches.
Okay, yeah.
So
All right.
I know
Well, that
what,
makes me feel better about it.
you know, we understand things in the county can go differently than
Right. Well, good. Sit tight. I'll be back in a little while, and we'll be letting some other folks in as they show up.
okay, good. Look
All
forward
right.
to it.
Thanks for making it today.
Okay, thanks. There we go. There you go.
Hey, Chairman Woody Young, can you hear me? Woody, can you hear me? That's probably the most famous quote in Zoom meetings. Can you hear me?
He may have logged into the audio.
Yeah, let's see here.
All right, how's that?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Wonderful.
All right. I hope we're right.
We are
Can you
right.
see? Can you see me?
I can't see you, but that's okay. But I would love to see you if you can make your camera work. So if you hover down below next to the bottom left-hand corner, there's a camera icon. Usually if you click that, Woody, you can make yourself be seen by others.
I don't see a camera icon.
Do you not? Okay. Trying to see here. Do you see where at the bottom of the Zoom screen, Chairman, that it's got a microphone? It says mute, stop video, security, all that stuff.
I do. Start video has got a slash through it.
Okay, so click it and it'll start.
How's
There you
that?
go. That's it. You're in.
Maybe.
Yes. So Angie says I will start video. I'm trying to get used to keeping up with the chat too on this stuff. So looks like Larry Turnbow's here. Larry, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Wonderful. Thank you for making it, Larry.
You're welcome.
All right, y'all sit tight. I appreciate you showing up early. I already got half of the quorum I need today with 3 of you. I need 6 total. I've got a good feeling that I'll get them today.
Better do it today than tomorrow with the ice storm.
No kidding. No kidding. I'm about tired of winter, aren't you, Mayor?
Yes. Spring
How
weather.
about you, Woody?
I am, but I dread tomorrow because I know what it's gonna be.
Mhm.
A lot of
Ice.
snow shoveling and ice
Yep.
melt putting out.
I cracked my snow shovel.
I guess I'm the only one that's
last.
glad it's here. I'd like to see a lot of the bugs that we had last year dead.
Yes, I hear you.
David, have you been getting a lot of complaints or hearing a lot of complaints about the lack of trash pickup this year?
That came up at our meeting this morning with the TCC. And
Okay.
the answer, Larry, is it'll resume in the spring.
We're getting a lot of complaints.
Okay.
I'm just passing it on to you.
Yeah. Actually, Charles Harden with the Blowing Rock Chamber brought that to our attention. And to be frank, I've noticed it myself when I drive to work and home. Almost to the point where I'm like, do I just need to get my own trash bag and start picking it up? Which I'll do it. I'm not above that, but
Well,
yeah.
we've had trash falling off in front of the house, and there have been cleanups on my road, but it's pretty bad this year.
Yeah. So yeah, that's as I said, in the spring is what DOT is saying.
We, as the Board of Commissioners in Avery County, have had a lot of input on trash. And it hadn't been good, believe me.
Mhm.
A lot of people complaining about it.
Yeah, Woody, I remember Philip Barrier bringing it up at a meeting too.
And say that is to resume in spring.
Yes, that's what DOT told us this morning.
By whom?
That was Division 13,
No, I mean, who's going to pick it up?
NCDOT. As long as it's in their right of way, of course. We're talking strictly just trash along the sides of the road.
Yeah, and you're probably talking just along primary roads, no secondaries.
They didn't get that specific, but the way they plow roads, it's interstates, and then it goes down from there all the way down to your local roads. So I would assume it would follow the same type of schedule, but
Probably no chance of DOC beginning to pick it up again.
that's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I mean, what else have they got to do? All they've got is time.
Well said. And
Costing the taxpayer $40,000 a year apiece. That get something out of it.
right.
Well,
And
I haven't seen them out for a few years, Woody. So when did they stop that, David?
About either 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, I know that I haven't seen them for the last couple of years. So.
Yeah. And they contracted it for what, a couple of years, and then DOT took it over. I'm sure that it's contracting costs much more than what it did for the prisoners to pick it up. But they did away with all the road crews in the prison department.
hey, Mark, I see that you've joined. Can you hear me okay? Mark Wisnett?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Great.
Whitney did a great job this morning, just so you know.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Uh,
And she will be joining us again, and she'll
Okay.
be the one that has the presentation.
Super.
You looked awful lonely in that big boardroom by yourself, David.
Oh, I know. This is my home court right here. I always do my meetings here. I was telling Mayor Brantz the meeting this morning was a rough one. I had the Zoom froze up on me, and I had about 35, 40 people staring at me, and I was trying to fix it. So my heart rate went up pretty high trying to do that, but we got through it.
I think the only thing you can plan on with technology is that something will go wrong.
Yes, that is true, Mark. Well said. Hello, Cully. How are you?
Good afternoon. How's everyone?
Doing well. Thanks for making it today.
Yep.
So I got 4 of you guys. I need 2 more and we'll have a quorum. We still got a few more minutes before 2 o'clock, so give these folks a little bit of time. So Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just so you know, I'm going to do a quick roll call before you read the ethics statement and get the meeting started.
Okay.
That's law. I got to do that. Luckily, there's not as many of you as there was this morning, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on that.
Just holler when.
Thank you, sir.
Well, you'll feel better about freezing up, David, and not having as many people staring at you.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with the number issue. It's like, I could have like, 5 people staring at me and it's not as bad. I don't know. It's a psychological block that I have.
I think it works that way for all of us, David. Yeah, when you're talking one-on-one or one-on-5, it's a lot different than when you're talking to a room and
Yes.
something happens.
Yes, and I know you know that very well.
Oh yeah, I've had moments. Rennie, have you had moments?
Many times, many times.
Hello, Jim Blevins. Can you hear me? Jim?
There we
There's
go.
Mayor
Okay.
Lyerly.
Hey
How are
there.
you
Hear me?
today?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Jim. Thanks for making it today.
All right. My pleasure.
And thank you, Mayor Lyerly, for making it today.
I'm happy to be here. Hey, Woody. Hi, Rennie. Hi, Cully.
Hey, Brenda, how are you?
Good. How about you?
Not too bad, thanks.
Are we gonna have an ice storm tomorrow?
Well, I hope we catch a break. But
Well,
according,
we all do. We all do, don't we?
yeah, according to Ray's weather, we're going to have some ice.
An
Well, I
ice
saw-
apocalypse.
They just canceled the immunizations for tomorrow because of the ice storm. So I guess it's coming.
They canceled them in Jefferson today because the vaccine didn't arrive.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. A bunch
That's
of
not a
annoyed.
good thing.
No, a lot of annoyed people walking
I
away from the
bet.
Ash Civic Center, including me.
Oh, mm. You were already waiting there?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, there were a lot of annoyed people walking away.
Yep, I'm sure. Did anybody ever find out what happened?
No, they said, our name was on a list, and when they got when they had the vaccine, they'd call all of us, reschedule.
Brenda,
state-
we're a little worried because if I'm correct, I think Jennifer Green told me that the Pfizer is coming from Minnesota, and I don't think the weather is particularly good between here and
Yeah.
Minnesota.
No, it's
I
not
bet
going to
that's
come
the reason.
tomorrow.
I
Yeah,
doubt it.
I'm sure
Mm.
it won't come tomorrow.
According to Toe River Health Director Diane Creek, our meeting yesterday evening, the vaccine was scheduled to arrive yesterday on Tuesday, but for some reason did not, and they were expecting delivery today.
Hmm.
I know that Avery County gave something over 400 shots already today, over 400 vaccines. And they were all second doses.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Well, I'm glad yours arrived. And I'm sorry yours didn't, Jim.
Yeah, still waiting for my first dose.
Oh. Hi, Amna. You're muted.
It's a pleasure to see you, Mayor Larley.
And it's good to see you as well. I hope you're well.
I'm doing great.
Good.
Y'all, if you'll pardon me for 1 second, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Miss Brenda, how's my friend?
He's doing okay. We have a little issue today. He's lost one of his hearing aids, and we've retracked every step we've made today. But at this moment, we haven't found them. So we've called the audiologist to see if we can get it. You jerk that mask on and off everywhere you are. So the audiologist said that there had been lots of lost hearing aids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
I've
you
lost it
will-
twice.
If you will, please tell him I was asking about him.
I will, Woody. Thank you.
Okay, folks, we got a few people still scrolling in, so I'll give it another 2 minutes and then we'll get started.
Do we have a quorum?
Yes,
All right.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, really.
I was sweating it last time.
Well, if we have a quorum, why don't we get started?
Well, I like to give folks the typical grace period, Zoom grace period of about 2 or 3 minutes, Cully, and then we'll get started if that's okay with the group. After what I dealt with this morning, the meeting didn't start till almost 25 minutes after it was supposed to because we were running into people having trouble logging in and things of that nature. So
That was my problem. I couldn't get in this morning.
okay, all right. Well, sorry about that. There's still more people coming in here.
Well, Jim, you really did have a bad day, didn't you? You couldn't get your shot.
And it ain't over yet.
He couldn't
Well,
get in a Zoom
tonight-
meeting.
Wait till tonight.
Really?
Hello, Mark. Thanks for making it.
Yeah, I got here today. On time, anyway.
Oh, I appreciate y'all.
I set an alarm on my phone so I wouldn't miss it today.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, I think we are right at the grace period for a classic Zoom meeting. So we'll go ahead and get it started. I will share my screen here. And where is it? Share. Hopefully y'all can see the agenda pretty good. You see that? Okay. And I'm gonna do roll call real fast. I have to do that. It's part of the law for Zoom meetings. I'm sure y'all have experienced that before. So when I say your name, just say here, present, whatever I want to say. And I've got Collie Tarleton. Okay, Brenda Lyerly,
Here,
Jim Blevins,
Here.
Mark Ledford,
Here.
Rennie Brantz,
Here.
and let's see who else. Larry Turnbow. I'm just calling members of the group. Larry Turnbow.
Here.
Let's see if I've got any.
Can you hear me, David?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
All right. I think I've got everybody. Any other members I may have missed? Super. Okay. Chairman, are you still with us? Hold on. I think you might be calling me. Hello? Yes. Y'all, I got the chairman on the phone here. Hold. Okay. Okay. All right. So you lost power. Very well. I know we have the vice chairman present, so hopefully she'll be able to assist with that. All right. Thank you. That's okay. I appreciate it, Woody. That's okay. Thank you. Okay. I understand. Bye-bye. All right, folks, news flash, just got a call from the chairman. He has lost power. So, Brendan, do you remember volunteering to be vice chair last time we met?
I had forgotten that.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
I'm going to make this very easy for you today.
okay.
All I'm really going to need you to do is call the meeting to order. Let me admit David Harwood. Bear with me, folks. I got some other people coming in here. All right.
Brenda, I bet you didn't realize you'd be called into action so quickly.
Okay.
No, I didn't. That's really strange. I wonder what's happened with the power in Woody's area. That's strange.
Yeah, I see David Harwood has showed up. David, appreciate you making it today.
I'm sorry I'm late.
That's
set an
okay.
alarm and everything, and
Yeah, the life of Zoom meetings. Here we go, right?
sorry.
It's okay. All right, so
Are we ready?
I think so. What I'm going to do, Mayor, is read the ethics statement since the chairman can be here, and you probably don't have one handy right now.
I do not.
So this is a North Carolina state ethics reminder, basically. So in accordance with State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every RTAC board member to avoid conflicts of interest. Does any RTAC board member have any known conflict of interest with respect to any matters coming before the RTAC board today? Question mark. And that's typically the response. No one has one. And then if so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any participation in the particular matter involved. So I went ahead and read that. So we're good with that item.
Okay.
So
call the meeting to order, and we need to approve the December 16 minutes. We need a motion to approve or to amend.
It's Larry Turnbow. I move that we approve the meetings, the
Is there a
minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hey, Brands?
Okay, a second. Is there any discussion on it? If not, will you go through the, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so I've got a first for Larry Turnbow and a second for Rennie Brantz. So just say yes or no on the motion. Brenda Lyerly,
Yes,
Mark Ledford.
Yes.
Let's see here. We got Jim Blevins,
Yes.
Colleen Tarleton,
Yes.
missing somebody here. Let's see. It was David Harwood, I believe, is who I was missing.
Yes.
Okay. And did I get you, Mark Ledford? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Did I miss any member? Okay. Sounds like we got the minutes approved, and I appreciate that.
okay. So at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Amna Cameron, and she's been with us before, and she's going to talk to us about the first commission.
Okay.
Amna, it's all yours.
I'm gonna share a screen with you, but I would like to bring to everybody's attention that Mayor Lyerly sat on the NC First Commission. I've got to toot the horn here. And
Thank you.
We're
It was
grateful.
my
for
pleasure.
Grateful for your service on that. So
Thank you.
I'm gonna hold one moment, and I'll give you the co-host privilege here. And hopefully it'll show up the first time, unlike the last time.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon, and especially to see Mayor Lyerly. She could give her this presentation herself, and I'm sure do a much better job. I'm here just to refresh your memory on what the commission is, and I will say the commission has, I think some clear findings that are indisputable. In terms of what the findings have released, there is one recommendation that comes out and a series of options for new revenue and finance proposals. And lastly, I'll talk about what the next steps are. So it was a 2-year commission, and it was incredibly exhaustive. In terms of the public meetings, there were numerous behind the scenes individual meetings and group meetings to be able to come up with this body of work. It is a lengthy report. I personally wrote the majority of it, and I encourage you to read it on the NC First webpage. And I also want to remind you of what else is on the website, including a series of 14 briefs, like what is the future of rural transportation, and the crafts tool, which allows you the ability to understand what transportation improvement costs, whether it is resurfacing a mile of road or adding new bus shelters, and then finding your solution to pay for it through the various revenue and finance options. Truly, the biggest finding is that DOT is underfunded. In addition to all of the future needs, whether this is from areas that you see with needing a more resilient system, dealing with population increases, or how to incorporate all of the new technologies into our road network. But apart from the new needs, the old needs are overwhelming. So the report really goes into incredible detail to justify why DOT needs additional revenues. Because at the end of the day, you can come out with 1,000 recommendations and options, but if the public, if the legislature doesn't believe the need is real, they're not going to go anywhere. And this report, I think, really does that. And what it shows is the cost to undertake road improvements is growing substantially. If you were to build a bridge 10 years ago, you would be paying about $750,000. Well, that figure is now $1 million for that bridge. If you want to maintain a mile of the secondary road system, you're going to be looking at those costs rising 36%. The interstate has risen 185%. But when you look at the DOT budget, those numbers are going down. In fact, over the last 10 years, the DOT budget has shrank 4.3%. Federal revenues have also shrank by 4%. But what are we experiencing? We're experiencing a significant increase in population. Most demographers are saying North Carolina is going to move to the 7th most populous state. There's actually talk that it could actually hit 6th by 2040. Yet you have these road conditions that are incredibly unfortunate. And it's not a primary system. It's not an interstate system. We maintain, but on the secondary system, those are degrading. And if you look at those road metrics for the primary system, those numbers are actually increasing by about 10% in terms of the amount of good pavement. But when you're looking at the secondary roads, it's gone down 10%. And so you see the cause and effect. Rural roads have the second highest amount of rural fatalities in the country. So this type of information, whether it's a comparative to other states or simply looking at how DOT is comparing against itself through time, it's incredibly concerning to see the findings of this report, but it does provide that justification that's necessary, that DOT needs additional investment, both for the backlog of needs and for future needs. Another of the key findings is that the gas tax base is shrinking. This is the DOT's largest source of funding, and it is growing. I don't want to come before you and say that revenues are shrinking. I'm saying that the tax base is shrinking. Thanks to the legislature, we do have a inflationary-based formula that grows the motor fuel tax every year, typically, and it's helped by population. But these things are changing. For the first year since the depression in the 2008, 2009, DOT has fewer gasoline vehicles on the road. Our number of vehicles declined 1%, but guess what grew by 30%, and that's down from the COVID, electric cars. So just when you're looking at fuel efficiency, because we really haven't seen this electric surge yet, we will, but when you're looking just at fuel efficiency numbers, compared to 10 years ago, an average driver is paying $30 less. And this is why the base is shrinking. And it's going to continue. We know that all of the talk at the federal level, that it's going to be an infrastructure year. It's also going to be a year focused on electric vehicles. So we're going to see those fuel standards go higher. And when you think of fuel economy standards, this isn't necessarily by your gasoline vehicles. This is from the introduction of electric vehicles. So let's just talk about this just a second. This is happening. California, who has 13% of registered vehicles in the United States. You have Massachusetts. Both states have now come out with directives to go fully EV by 2035. You have President Biden issuing his kind of, I guess, draft proposal at this point that it wants to meet the Paris Climate Accord initiatives. So that means that he is saying he wants the United States to be fully EV by 2050. And now what you have are the auto manufacturers responding. So you have GM recently coming out and saying it will have a full EV fleet by 2035. You had Ford just yesterday say it is going 100% EV in Europe. But I think what most surprised me is you have the sedan market, I would say. Those types of vehicles, the American companies tend to be supportive of the fuel efficiency standards, but it's the luxury car market that has been the main opponents. And just today, Jaguar came out and said it is going fully electric by 2035 too. And so you're going to keep hearing this. I look at an article every day about a new electric vehicle coming out. So it's hard to imagine based on the implementation in North Carolina, but it is happening everywhere around us. The commission did numerous surveys, and one of those I just wanted to note what is happening in Western North Carolina, where citizens find roads and infrastructure as their second highest priority. 13% listed this higher than education, higher than the economy. And so that's very telling that there is concern about the infrastructure. So what is this one recommendation? And that is for funding. The commission hopes to achieve a good infrastructure rating. That means it will need an investment of $20 billion over the next 10 years. And the commission divided its options into 4 categories. So one is what can happen immediately. Number one, I talked about this last time, it is the highway use tax. The highway use tax, it has never been raised since 1989. That's when it was implemented. It's the lowest in the nation of any state that actually taxes the vehicle purchase. And it's extraordinary, less costly than our neighboring states. There are some states that collect 4 times as much than North Carolina's average transaction cost. And then there's also eliminating that HUT net of trade exemption. But I think one of the things the commission really focused on, I would say 2. One we'll cover later, fairness. The second one is recapturing transportation related revenue proposals that go and support the general fund instead of the Department of Transportation. So one of these is what's called the alternative highway use tax. So when you go to the airport and you rent a car or you go to Enterprise, you perhaps have a car sharing, which these are around, especially universities, for university kids to grab a car for an hour or 2. All of these revenues, about $80 million, now go to the general fund. Next, you have the sales tax. And I would say I've heard more criticism of this than anything else. In fact, I was reading yesterday an editorial by the leading Republican think tank that said absolutely not. The report is wrong. You should not go after a sales tax. And that's what the report says. It says raise the sales tax and lower the gas tax, because first the base is shrinking on the gas tax, and the sales tax does at least provide a growing stream of revenues. And what he said the report was very good. He fully supported the findings of the report, but he actually advocated for the third bullet. And this is back to the general fund taking transportation monies. So when you go to Jiffy Lube and you get an oil change, when you go to Napa Auto Parts, these revenues actually summed up to $470 million last year. So that is some of the just some of the money that's made specifically at a transportation type store. So if you go to Walmart and you buy a can of oil change, that revenue actually isn't even in those figures. And so that was a positive sign to see John Hood come out with this editorial and support the commission's findings and one of the key recommendations. Next, the electric and hybrid fee. And again, a lot of people feel that there should be an offset for the environmental benefits that these cars bring, but this is where fairness entered the discussion. And the commissioners felt very strongly that a Honda gasoline driver should be paying the same as a Honda hybrid owner. It's a similar weight issues, similar demand, similar use of the interstates. And the commission looked at further examination of weight-based fees for heavy vehicles. And one of the more, I think, intriguing proposals is to start capturing revenues off of the damage that's being created, especially on your neighborhood streets, from the surge in e-commerce deliveries. So your Amazon deliveries that are really, I think they go up and down my street 10 times a day. And so lastly, you move into the second of 4 of long-term modernization solutions. And by far, my personal opinion, I think miles-based user fee is going to be the way of the future. You are looking at this being implemented and studied around the country. You have 2 permanent state programs right now. You have numerous pilots underway around the country. You have a lot of federal support, a lot of congressional encouragement through money for states to study this. I think you'll start hearing a little bit more. When I get off this call, I'm moving into a national alliance for motor fuels that is moving forward with a national pilot. And so this is going to be heavily talked about, I think, with the Biden administration as it looks for a revenue source. Now, the proposal does not move this forward immediately. I think that there still needs to be a lot of study. There are a lot of perceived pitfalls with capturing a miles-based fee, whether it's a privacy concern, the impact to rural drivers, to low-income drivers. How will the data be collected? Can it accurately capture whether you're driving on a city road? or a private road, or a South Carolina road. So we're going to continue studying this in North Carolina. And in fact, we are expanding the pilot this year to 400 people. And we are going to be encouraging this fall for elected officials to participate. We've never opened it up to elected officials before, but I think you really need to have that firsthand experience to understand what the technology can do. The plan would be next year to go to the legislature and ask for a small volunteer pilot with the plan eventually of moving to a full replacement of the gas tax by 2030. I'll just briefly touch on some other items: increase highway tolling, public-private partnerships, reestablish the state infrastructure bank and value capture. And these last two also apply to the third category of local government. But the big local government recommendation is to authorize an additional 0.5-cent local option sales tax. So lastly, there are 3 other options that are essential for success. First, everyone uniformly agreed for a higher investment in broadband infrastructure, but also the ability for DOT to issue additional debt, and also to focus on all of these technology needs by appointing a chief information officer. So this is it. This is an opportune time to lead North Carolina further. This is a national movement, and transportation is going to be at the forefront of discussions this year in Congress. So what can you do to support this effort? I've said we can have all the options we want, but if people aren't buying that the needs are real, then they're not going to support an increase in revenue. And oftentimes I hear someone say, why should we want to pay more? And I think it's, you look at this report, you look at the data, and it's simply that you can either pay it in taxes or you can pay it in the amount of road damage your car is experiencing, in the amount you're sitting in congestion instead of being at home, and wasted fuel, and having to get your tires rotated, and your vehicle depreciation costs, and the increased amount of crashes that are happening because of our road network. So I encourage you, meet with your legislative delegation, participate in this pilot. And if you want to follow from an advocacy standpoint, the Chamber's Destination 2030 is open to anyone to participate, but this is the industry's advocacy arm seeking additional revenues for transportation. So I am happy to take any questions. Or Mayor Lyerly, you can move her right to her.
Putting Mayor Lyerly on the spot.
Yeah. Emily, you did a great job. You always do. And you brought all the great points to the forefront. And we appreciate you being with us today. Anybody have any questions for Amna?
I just want to echo that. That's a big task to summarize the commission's work. The final report from the commission is 173 pages long. So
to about 3 months.
To put that in a presentation format that hits the highlights is a big task. So thank you.
It's my pleasure, sir.
Emna, this is David Harwood. I've got a question. Certainly, nationally, we're not alone in this issue. And are there states that have had similar issues and come up with creative solutions?
North Carolina is ahead of the game. These efforts are going around in almost every state. There are 3 state commissions that have started since the NC First Commission started. There's at least 12 that have been conducted before we started in the last 10 years. And when I say we're ahead of the game, these states are moving to solutions that North Carolina has already implemented. So with the exception of a miles-based user fee and the addition of live pilots, they are raising the gas tax. They're raising the electric vehicle fee. So these are not innovative solutions that are coming out, but they're solutions nonetheless to apply a Band-Aid, just like North Carolina did.
David, this is Cully. I can assure the group that DOT in Raleigh is constantly engaging with their counterparts in all the states around the country to see if anyone has discovered a better way to skin the cat. So we are exchanging information on a regular basis. We're sharing our information with them and they're sharing their information with us. No one has found the silver bullet yet, but I think by what the NC First Commission has done and recommended, we are running a little ahead of the pack, but we still have a lot of work ahead of us as we deal with this very real issue. I mean, this is like the pandemic. This is real. This is happening, and it's just going to get worse as miles per gallon improve and electric cars come on the scene. We've got to find a way to fund things, and so y'all can rest assured that we're not trying to do this alone. We're trying to do it in concert with states all around the country.
Thank you, Coley. Thank you, Amna.
Amna, have you checked, do you have an idea of the temperature of the legislature on these issues as of yet?
I started my morning with a legislative briefing on the status of the general fund. And it's the largest increase that the state has seen since I think 2007. It's an extraordinary increase given COVID. They have over the next 2 years over $5 billion more than the state was expecting. So I think that's a huge issue that's going to come into play when transportation advocates are asking for those reclaimed transportation monies. I think that really opens the door for DOT to go forward with that request. But I also think we've heard a lot of support especially for the highway use tax. I'm not saying that everything is going to happen this year. I think there's still a lot of uncertainty about COVID. I think a lot of this is going to have, the legislature is going to need to have a comfort in what the federal package is going to be if states receive that, and if DOT will be a recipient of additional federal COVID money. And I think all of these things need to be worked out. But yes, I do think over the course of this biennium, DOT will be successful in securing some revenues. And the speaker himself has been a big advocate already this session of an additional infrastructure bond.
Excellent.
Let me jump in here again, if I may, please. We are keeping the leadership in the legislature and the chairman of the transportation committees in the House and the Senate involved at all times, keeping them up to date with what we are doing and what we're discussing. All this information that you just saw has been shared with them. I can assure you, having been in the legislature myself, that we would prefer a solution that we find and that is true and tested, as opposed to having one legislated for us. While we certainly would welcome the input of all the members of the legislature, and particularly the leadership of the legislature, it would be my hope that we will be able to go to the legislature with some solutions that we have settled on, and that we can convince the legislature that are in the best interest of the people of North Carolina.
I actually had dinner last night with 5 legislators, and there's no doubt that everyone supports transportation. It's just a mechanism of finding a revenue path forward. But they fully believe in additional revenue investments and the ability of transportation to be that transformative subject matter to help the economy.
Good conversation. Anything else for Amna? Thank you again, Amna, for being with us, and we appreciate all the hard work you've done on this commission.
It's my pleasure. Contact me anytime with any questions. Have a great day.
You too.
Mayor Lyerly, real quick, I've got a quick housekeeping item. There's a phone number, 828-284-6036 popping up, and we're not sure who that is. So whoever you are, could you tell us who you are? 284-6036. Okay.
Sounds like a Russian number to me.
I guess they're bashful today. So I'm done with my housekeeping item. Thank you very much.
Thanks. And I don't see the agenda, so
Okay.
so I'll have to look it up here. You
That's
go
fine.
ahead.
I've got it for you.
Okay.
All right. We have next on the agenda NCDOT Title VI program presentation, and the gal is Whitney McFadden. And Whitney, are you with us? Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. Whitney, I went ahead and made you co-host, so you take it away when you're ready.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Mark is actually joining us as well. So let me just pull up my screen here and we can get started. Oh, I didn't go to share screen.
That's fine.
I am also here. While Whitney's pulling that up, let me just introduce myself, and then Whitney can introduce herself. My name is Mark Wisnett. I am the program manager for the Title VI unit at NCDOT. I'm also responsible for the ADA program at NCDOT. And I'll let Whitney introduce herself.
Okay. Could you give me one second? I have some background noise. Sorry, I do apologize. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to have to leave my post, but the screen wouldn't let me do it. So I'm back. I am Whitney McFadden, with the Title VI program. I work alongside Mark Wisnett, and I have another partner, Ashley Council. But like Mark said, we'll get started. We'll tell you a little bit about the Title VI program, what we do, and how we work with RPOs. And of course, we welcome any questions, so let us know if you have some. Again, we are the Title VI program, and Title VI refers to Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I do like to read this part verbatim only because we cannot change it. Title VI is what it is, and it stands firm in what it says, which is no person in the United States shall on the ground of race, color, or national origin be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. And essentially what that means is, because DOT does receive federal funds, and those funds are typically trickled down to our subrecipients or our partners, such as an RPO. We cannot discriminate. So all of our subrecipients have to abide by this rule as well. However, in 1987, the Civil Rights Restoration Act came along, and it states essentially that it doesn't matter if the project is a state-funded project or a federally funded project, we still cannot discriminate. However, there is notable exception to creed and religion under the Civil Rights Restoration Act. However, we do also have some programs that recognize creed and religion, such as our aviation program. I hit on this a little bit earlier, but some of our protected classes, or this is a full list, are race, color, sex, national origin, limited English proficiency, disability. As Mark mentioned earlier, he is also the manager of the ADA section, but Title VI can also receive complaints under disability. Then we have low income, which is our environmental justice portion, and then creed, religion, and as well as age. So any of these protected classes fall under Title VI. So what is discrimination? This one usually seems straightforward, but what's true is there are certain things under Title VI that would count as discrimination that we normally would not in our everyday lives. It's always like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, or I didn't mean to say that, or that was not my intention. However, the Title VI law states when it comes to discrimination, it can be intentional or unintentional. So basically it's the act, whether again is intentional or unintentional, through which a person in the United States solely because of race, color, or national origin, sex, age, or disability is subjected to disparate treatment or impact in any NCDOT program or activity. And so that's what Title VI strives to do. We strive to ensure and work alongside our programs and services within NCDOT so that there are no discriminatory rules or procedures, so that, you know, we're not deliberately treating anyone unequally, but most importantly, we don't have any policies and procedures that result in an unequal outcome, which is essentially disparate impact. So those are things that we work with our, again, programs and services, as well as our subrecipients to ensure, because Title VI, even if you didn't know that you were discriminating, it still could be a problem. And then this goes into our discrimination complaints. Again, a discrimination complaint has to be based off the protected classes. So they must be filed within 180 days of the alleged incident, and it has to be written or reduced to writing. So you can take the complaint over the phone. And so that complaint can be sent in by a complainant or a third party. So essentially, if somebody witnesses someone being discriminated against, then we will also accept the complaint from that witness as well. And as a subrecipient, if you get a complaint, then we are looking for you to take this information or pass the information along to us so that we can get the information from the complainant or the third party. And I'll let Mark kind of get into what the RPO responsibilities are.
So all of the slides that you've seen up to this point are the basic, really the basics of the Title VI program. And each one of those things in terms of the protected classes, discrimination, what discrimination is, whether it's intentional or unintentional, discrimination complaints, all of those things are things that we handle from our end, but they're also things that are part of your responsibility as an RPO. So each RPO is responsible for having a Title VI plan. So a few years ago, I believe it was probably 2019, I want to say. I believe we were actually in that boardroom that David is in and doing a presentation on a template that we established for all of the RPOs as well as the MPOs to use to develop their own Title VI plans. So each entity, each RPO, NCDOT as well, has to have a Title VI plan per FHWA requirements. So all of those things would be laid out in that plan. So all of your RPO as well as all the other RPOs have that template. And as of, I want to say the end of 2019, it was certainly before 2020, all RPOs had approved plans. So those plans are in place. And I can't remember the specific triggers that requires an RPO to make any modifications and to reissue their plan. I think it's a change in leadership or any other type of major changes that would impact the plan, such as data analysis, population, things like that. So there are specific reasons that might cause an RPO to need to reissue their plan. So as you can see here, this list of responsibilities, the first one is to undergo Title VI compliance reviews. So we get our marching orders from FHWA primarily for this side of our business. We also work with all of the other different modes of transportation, aviation, rail, ferry, all of those. So those all involve different federal agencies. But with you all and with us, we take our orders from FHWA. And in laying out our work plan for this federal fiscal year, they wanted us to go back and start looking at MPOs and RPOs and doing compliance reviews with you all. So that review process has not taken place, I believe, it has not happened as long as I've been here. So I started in Title VI back in 18, I believe. So it's been a good couple of years, going on 3 years. So we will begin that process again this year. We are only slated to do a couple of RPOs in terms of compliance reviews. So you'll be, if your RPO is one of them selected, we'll reach out to you and walk you through the process and give you all of the information that you need. So the other parts of things that are responsibilities for you all as an RPO is to recognize and identify any type of potential Title VI issues. The main important thing is to, as the next bullet says, is to complete and submit the plans, but is to really know what's in your plan and to go by what's in your plan. So if you do that, you should be able to recognize those potential issues that may exist or may come up. So the things in the plan that are part of the template that we have worked with you all on are obviously having a policy statement, making sure that those policy statements are posted in all public areas, on websites, things like that. Complaint procedures, Whitney talked about discrimination complaints and laid out the basics of that, but you all have to have your own complaint procedures, just like NCDOT does. You have to have a process for data analysis. So looking at your all of your data, all of your populations and the populations within your catchment area have to be looked at, have to be analyzed so that you're making sure that you're providing the appropriate types of Title VI services. And then lastly, and this is just a few, to mention, and it's not all of them, it's not an exhaustive list, but obviously there's public outreach, and you should have an outreach plan as part of your Title VI plan. So how to reach out for planning for transportation activities, just general activities that you are responsible for within your RPO, having that type of public outreach. Whitney, do you have anything else to add to that? If not, on the next slide.
Yeah, okay.
And then, so LEP, limited English proficiency, is one of those things that should be addressed in your Title VI plan. That's where a lot of the data analysis comes in. So you obviously want to make sure that language assistance services are provided, that anyone that does not speak English, and if you look at that third block there, an LEP person is someone who reads or writes, speaks or understands English less than very well is the technical definition of it. So it's obviously intended to prevent or prohibit national origin discrimination. So we do focus quite a bit on LEP throughout the different parts of the state. So depending on what your population looks like in your RPO's area, that will dictate what type of LEP services that you provide. Whitney is pretty much our group's guru on LEP. So if Whitney has anything else to add to that, I'll certainly let her add.
No, Mark, I actually think you covered it well. Like you said, the data analysis portion from your plans will include a lot of limited English proficiency. So just making sure that you provide the services and the resources to those individuals who, may attend your public involvement meetings or anything like that. Just ensuring that they have the meaningful access is very important.
Yeah, so I think basically that wraps up our presentation. The next slide, I think, is contact information. I'll make sure, David, that you get a copy of this presentation so you'll have all of this information. Since I came in as manager, I have simply tried to strive to let everyone know that we work with, that we're here as a resource. We're not here as I don't carry around a big club and hit you over the head for not doing what you're supposed to do. I'm here. Our program is here to make sure that you have someone to come to and ask questions when you don't know what needs to be done, or if you need assistance in getting your Title VI program or plan set up. All of our staff know that, and that's the way that we approach all of our activities in Title VI. So when it comes time, if your RPO is chosen to be one of the ones that we do a compliance review on, whether it's this year or next year or over the next few years, we try and make that process as easy as possible. If you're not quite sure what it's about or what it's going to entail, then we're certainly available to have calls with you, meetings with you, to go over that process just to make sure that it goes as smoothly as possible. So please just think of us as a resource and reach out to us when and if you need to. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you all for that update. We need to hear those things. Thank you.
All right,
Any
thank
other
you.
questions for these folks? Thanks. David, I found the agenda, and it looks like you have the next two agenda items. So just take them on.
Sounds good. I went ahead and pulled it up. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mark and Whitney, for that great presentation. I appreciate that. So next we've got the project development update. So I will go ahead and scroll down to that. Bear with me. This has a tendency to make some people dizzy. Why don't I just grab the bar and pull it down here? Let me just do it this way. Here we go. Okay, there it is. All right, so what you see before you is the project update for February, obviously the month of this year. And so the big news with this particular document was the last time we met. And that's when the 2020-2029 State Transportation Improvement Program was basically reprogrammed in it, like a wholesale reprogramming process went through. So I'll just touch the highlights of projects that survived that because they were not scheduled for right-of-way or construction within the first 6 years of this document. And so the first, it seemed like I passed one. Hold on a second. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, so yeah. So here's the first one on page 1. The US 19E east of Spruce Pine to Mullen Hill Road in Avery and Mitchell counties. So as you can see, right-of-way is scheduled for 2029 and then construction future years. And then I have committed projects. So these are the projects I'm going to focus in on with this document today. So it's way beyond that 6-year window. But the good news is we were able to retain it and keep it. Even though it is years down the road, it doesn't have to go back through the project prioritization process, as with all of the others that I'm going to touch on here. So that's a good one there. So we've got on page 2. The US 421 Poplar Grove Road connector intersection in Watauga County. Again, right-of-way is 2028, construction future years. It's a committed project, so we don't have to worry about sending that back through prioritization. Same with in Wilkes County, Oakwoods Road project, right-of-way 2026. This one's a little bit more firmed up, and then construction 2028. And then below that, the North Wilkesboro bypass, or R0616, right-of-way 2026, construction 2029. So that's somewhere in between the two. But again, it's committed and doesn't have to go back through the process. And here's in Mitchell County, NC 226 from the Blue Ridge Parkway to Summit Avenue. This one, I think, got pushed back the most, but here again, it's committed and it's going to happen eventually. So that's where we are on that. So those are the highway projects. Really not much to report on the Yancey County Transit Facility scheduled for construction in 2022. The bike ped projects, nothing has changed with those. We'll kind of point out this. I was driving by this one on 221 the other day, and I saw surveyors out there. So I know that that sidewalk from Main Street Blowing Rock to Bass Lake is going to be happening soon. So that's great news for the town, as well as section 1 of the Middle Fork Greenway. That's another good project. And of course, we can't leave out, I just saw the mayor of the town of Boone here. We can't leave out the 421 multi-use path to Grove Street in the town of Boone. That's a good project. They're all good projects. And then nothing's changed on these airport projects either. So Mayor, that's all I have under the project development update.
Okay, you want to go on to the prioritization?
Okay, moving right along. I don't really have anything in the packet on this. Just want to let you know that the NCDOT Strategic Prioritization Office of Transportation, which is a mouthful, so we call them SPOT for short. They are currently in the process of scoring all projects in the state for this current prioritization cycle, which is called P6.0 or Prioritization 6.0. And so the RPO and MPOs across the state of North Carolina have submitted projects to them for this process. The review period of all project data and costs for the scoring will begin in early April of 2021. The deadline to submit the High Country RPO local input points methodology, where we help boost the scores of these projects, that is due July 30th of this year. And I'd like to let you all know special thanks to Joe Furman, Ken Nolan, Rob Wise, and Stephen Sparks, as well as Phil True. They served on the RPO methodology subcommittee. And we met on December 4th of last year and January 29th of this year, basically to give a wholesale review and update of this document. And so you all will be seeing this more than likely during the May meeting. I'll be looking for approval on that. So hopeful to get it to NCDOT so that they can give me their thumbs up, so that everybody's on board and we can start scoring and ranking projects. The programming of statewide mobility projects by SPOT is scheduled for the month of August. So therefore, I got a little star next to my last bullet point on my notes here. I will be soliciting these priority projects from local governments in early September of this year. So I'll be reaching out to the county managers primarily and copying all the town managers in our region, asking them to submit the eligible projects in order of priority, whichever there's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on. Do that every time, and it seems to work out really well. So Mayor, that's all I have on the prioritization 6.0 update, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for David on this? Thank
Back
you.
up to the agenda here.
Do we have the division engineers with us?
Okay. I think we do. Anybody from Division 11? Rob, are you on?
Yes,
Okay.
this is Rob Wise. Mike's not with us this afternoon. Basically for out in the construction side of things, there's not much going on due to the weather, but I will note that the R2915 project, the A and B section have wrapped up, which is the section from 421 to the New River. All that's left on that is just vegetation establishment. The C section, which is the section right after that goes to Baldwin, that one is at 98%. So that one's pretty much wrapped up as well. If anybody has any specific questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Nothing for Rob. Okay, thank you for your report. And Division 13 representative.
Yes, this is McCray Coates. Just wanted to give y'all an update. Really, same thing as Rob. The winter weather slows a lot of things down. But just a quick update. We are opening bids today on the resurfacing for Yancey Mitchell. So we're excited about that and looking forward to some good bid prices to move that forward. But everybody just be mindful of the weather too. I just want to throw that out there. We are going to have a winter storm coming through, so everybody be cautious. But that is the update from Division 13.
Thank you for that.
Quick question for you, McCray. You had mentioned about a litter pickup at the morning meeting, and I think did you say that that'll start resuming in spring? Because that question came up again before this meeting started.
Yes, that's correct, David. That is my understanding that program will start back in the spring.
Okay. Very
And
good.
if I would suggest if there's any questions, to reach out to the local county maintenance office. Those are the folks who would coordinate that. If there's specific locations that are more unsightly than others, I would just suggest to reach out to the county engineer, have that conversation, and let them prioritize that.
Great. Thank you, McCray.
Thank you.
And is Pam Cook with us for the Transportation Planning Division?
I am. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
I only have like 10 seconds because I'm going to be asked to do this same thing in Hickory in about 10 seconds.
Okay.
So you have a copy of my newsletter. I
There
would
it
just
is.
really encourage you to read through it. Our traffic surveys is having a new web page up, and I'll be able to tell you more after I get training on it next week. Yancey County CTP, we are currently developing our draft recommendations that are being reviewed by the local officials. And I'm working on a public survey for that. So I'm going to let you just read the rest of the newsletter yourself. Please let me know if you have any questions. There is a link to the First Commission final report and the NCDOT annual report. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
Thanks for putting us in your busy schedule. Bye.
Yeah. She was doing 2 meetings at the same time, so I was impressed by that.
Really?
Yeah. Very good. So you all should have that information in your packet if you want to dig a little deeper in it. So that's all we got for that.
I guess now we're to the committee members' comments and other business. David,
Mayor, I'll just mention one thing, and I'm sure y'all are so familiar with this and tired of hearing me talk about statement of economic interest and real estate disclosure forms. The High Country RPO TAC does awesome with getting those submitted, and I thank you so much for doing that. However, keep in mind, if you haven't filed it yet, that it's due by April 15th. So I just wanted you all to be aware of that. You have to file it every year.
Thank you for that reminder. You'll have to remind us all again next time, I'm sure. Public comments. Anybody have any public comments?
I have not received any through email.
Okay. we're to the adjournment part. Do you have anything else to add before we adjourn? We need a motion to adjourn then, please.
So moved, Rennie Brand.
In a second.
Second, Larry Turnbow.
Okay, we are adjourned then. Thank
Thank
you.
y'all so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everyone be safe tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, really. I hope you have a better day tomorrow, Jim.
Thank you. I'll work hard on it.
Okay.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.